how do you reach the people? Is it you just get in a car and drive to them for the most part, or what are your experiences in that end? To go out in the ministry?
Yeah. Well, all the friends, there's only a few of them. We have a congregation of about 50. There's like 2 or 3 that have a vehicle. I think maybe 2 families that have a vehicle. So all of us are on bicycles. I bought a bicycle when I got there. It got stolen immediately. I had to go out and get another one. But I got a better one that time, and I was glad the first one got stolen because it was a piece of junk anyways. But we really liked bicycling around. All of our territory is within like a 15-minute bicycle ride. So you have 10 or 15 minutes to each, 5 to 10 minutes to each study. They're not very far on bicycle. And within that area is our 3 villages, which is Tapachinga, which is like a 5-minute ride away, and then the one I live in is Letham, and then there's one called St. Ignatius. And the friends that live in St. Ignatius like to keep their studies on that side, so they all bicycle around their own territory, and then we all bicycle around our own territory, so don't waste like 20 minutes going from village to village. So that's just one tiny little village. Those 3 make up the village of Letham, those 3 villages. And it's about 3,000 or 4,000 people, so it's a pretty small area. But then we have hundreds of villages to the south. We have like, just off the top of my head, I'm just guessing here, but when you see how they dot the map, it looks like about 300 or 400 villages, probably more, that never get reached. So we're the only ones in the south. It's like it takes up the whole south of the map, this interior part, they call it the interior. So the society hadn't sent anybody in a long time, but right when I was leaving, we were getting 2 missionary couples sent in. One was from a couples school missionary couple. Another were graduates of Gilead. And they were sent in not only to work Letham, where I live, but to work the interior villages. So we were all so excited about that because they were going to reach out to these places that we never get. Otherwise, how are we going to reach them? How in the world, how are we going to start a congregation somewhere that has nowhere to begin? The only thing that we had was some brothers from the north of the country would travel through about every 2 years or so. And what they would do when they went to all these villages trying to make sure everyone in the whole place had literature, they would stop by schools, libraries, and churches. And I mean, all the people too, they would try to, mask the territory. But they would try to make sure that they had access to our books. So that way anyone in the whole community could get a hold of our books. And they would come through, and some people would have ancient versions of, some of our books taped together and totally treasured, and be like, do you have the new one of this? Young people asked from the 80s or other, books from the even, farther away. And they would get the new versions. They'd be so excited about it. And the church leaders, they would go through and say, okay, this is how you teach our publications. You read the paragraph, you go over the questions with your church members. And so you reach people in some of those areas that know our doctrines. So they might know 3 and believe 3 of our main doctrines. You know about Jehovah and the 144,000, or the teaching of the hope for the earth. And I'm just coming up with something off the top of my head, but they'll know those because they've been taught them in church. I have two girls that they say they learned the Bible Stories book in their Baptist church in Sunday school. So, and that's just in my same town, but all these villages to the south, there's ways that people are learning about Jehovah and stepping away from their own, the teachings of the false churches. And there's 2 villages that we're able to get to on a regular basis. One is called Shulanab, which is 2 hours out, and the next is called Karasabaya, another 2 hours out. That's 4 hours out. So we have a couple in there. Well, the wife is 69 and the husband is 74, and they moved from England. They took, they were going to rent out their house. It didn't work. They ended up devoting 18 months to Karasabaya. So since they're out there and there's no other witnesses, they have to come into Letham for meetings every 10 days. So they go out preaching for 10 days. They have tons of studies. They do 10-hour days on their bicycle. And this is bicycling in the sand and the sun, hot sun.
They're how old?
They're 69 and 74. So they are doing such a great job. They bought nice bikes and they're out there. And if you talk to anybody from those villages while you're out in service, they'll know who they are. Or they'll say, my mom studies with them, or my uncle studies with them, or whatever.
So then if I was to say I couldn't do it because I was too old, that wouldn't be a valid...
Doesn't work, no. And then there was another sister that was 55 that served in in the Kingdom Hall with me too. She comes from England too.